And then emotionally, they could get triggered. They could feel not appreciated by their family at home. They could feel not valued at work. And we don't know when we're going to be emotionally triggered by something. And that's when the saboteur will go, I don't feel enough. I need to feel better. And that's when the saboteur loves instant gratification. So in health, you could say, what's instant gratification? Sugar, cake, chocolate. For some, it's kebab, cheese, wine, alcohol.
Welcome to the Radical Health Rebel podcast with your host, Leigh Brandon. If you enjoy the podcast, please leave a 5-star rating and a warm review. And now, here is Leigh, the Radical Health Rebel, with this week's podcast.
Okay, Eileen McCotter Davies, welcome to the Radical Health Rebel podcast.
Hello.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm really good. Just come back from a holiday, so I am buzzing, well rested and full of energy.
Fantastic, fantastic. So today's episode is entitled How to Overcome Self-Sabotage.
Yeah.
So self-sabotage, for me, without question, is something that we've all suffered from in our lives at some point or another. And you know, self-sabotage is certainly something that I've experienced myself and something that I see regularly in my own clients. And it can be very destructive in people's lives and prevent them from achieving what they really want from life. So, you know, anyone wanting to overcome a health challenge or to optimize their health and performance can easily be railroaded by self-sabotage. So I'm really excited to be having this discussion with you today, Eileen. But before we get started, what I'd love you to do is to tell me about you, your upbringing, your journey, and your experiences that's led you to where you are today, talking to me on the Radical Health Rebel podcast.
Wow, Jesus, that's a big, big question. So my upbringing, Irish family. That means a house of loads of kids because mum and dad didn't have a TV, so instead they made children, was the joke. Working family, and that probably led me into doing physical activity because I had a lot of energy as a kid, and kind of did okay with sports at school, but then got into like personal training. And then all the Czech stuff. That's where I met you, Leigh, on, I think it was HLC 1, and then we did 2. Then
That's right.
3.
18 years ago.
It's how long it was, bloody hell, 18 years
18 years ago.
And that's when I kind of...
We don't look old enough, Eileen, do we?
We must have started when we were 3, you know. I'm 21. I feel 20. I do after a week's holiday. So, yeah, so I think I obviously started the Czech stuff, and that kind of led me into more holistic approach to lifestyle, etc. And you know, I was personal training, and I was giving people phenomenal fitness and nutrition plans, you know, toward their metabolic type, etc. You know, and exercises, all the functional exercises, and then people weren't doing it. And I was like, oh, so I kind of noticed that was going on in my like professional career, you could say, as a trainer. Then in my personal relationship, I couldn't get my relationship to work with my daughter's dad at the time. And I didn't know at the time I was trying to turn a circle into a square. So I kind of went on this personal development journey on, you know, I started to question myself a lot. I remember one time, you know, just looking out of the window of my house. My daughter was only small at the time, I don't know, 3 or 4, lying in my bed. And I just looked out the window one night and thought, you know, I can't get out of this situation that I'm in. I couldn't see a way out. And my relationship, it would be on, it would be off, it would be on, it would be off. And it was really soul destroying, because emotionally I was high, I was low, I was high, I was low. And at the same time, I was a single parent. I was trying to cope with life, cope with work. So I flew to Canada to do a course all on meridians and exercise, with the body and energy work in the body. And I walked into this class and I was the only English person. And I walked in and this guy, his name was John, but he, for me, looked like Father Christmas. And I went, oh my God, I've turned up to a workshop in Canada with a guy that looks like Father Christmas. What am I doing? And sat down for a few days, did all this meridian malarkey and energy. And he said, picked me out. And he went, your heart chakra is blocked. There's no energy coming from your heart. So he pulled me up to the front of the room and he said a sentence to me. So he kind of said, what if you teach men how to treat you? And I was like, what? And at that point, before that point, I was being a victim. I was like, I've been hurt, men hurt me. Why do men hurt me? Why can't I have a great relationship? What's wrong with me? And I was being a victim. And he said, yeah, what if you teach men how to treat you? And at this point, my partner had an affair. And I told this coach to fuck off. Can you swear on this podcast?
You can.
Oh, good. F off. There you go. So I told him to get off. And I walked out of this room and in a stonk, kind of going, he said, you're being a victim. Didn't like hearing that. And I walked out the room and then I realised I had no key to get into my hotel. My bag and everything was in the room and I had no... So I had to walk back in. I walked back in and they're American. So guess what they all do? They all start clapping. Yay! But I didn't walk back in to join back in. I walked back in to get my bag. They're all clapping. Oh my God, we love your bravery, your courage. And I was like, oh. And that's when I learned this concept of self-sabotage. What if there was a part of me that was sabotaging my relationships? So I came home that day and I hated that question because I was in blaming everyone else for, blaming, my daughter's dad for my unhappiness. I was doing that for quite some time. I really hated that question. What if there is a part of me sabotaging my ability to love and receive love? So I remained angry for a while. I continued trying to turn the circle into a square. And then I really sat with myself and researched, kept going back to America and really learned about the saboteur and how come there was a part of me that pushed away love. And then what happened, kept going back for myself. I was intrigued. I was kind of obsessed about the human mind and the psyche because I never knew what any of that was. And then I started to bring some of these saboteur concepts to my personal training clients. And then I kind of got known very quickly that Eileen's the person that can really help someone that was stuck. And then all personal trainers started referring clients to me that were stuck. And often these people had a lot of emotional things they were dealing with that were just being pushed to one side. And that was the reason why they couldn't stick to the diet or they couldn't stick to the health and fitness program. And then 10 years, 15 years on, I now coach people from all walks of life, from entrepreneurs to grow their business, teenagers with the pressures of A-levels, couples with communication challenges, career women trying to balance their emotions in a male-dominated, pressured area of business, etc. And I just love it. Can't get enough of it. So, yeah, so it's been quite a journey and I'm still on that journey myself.
Absolutely. As we all are, right?
Yeah, we certainly are.
Great. So to the people listening right now or watching, how would you define self-sabotage?
Oh, great question. Well, I would define it as a feeling first. For many people, they might feel it where it feels like you're taking a step forward and then you're taking 2 steps back. or you kind of feel like you're going around in circles, that you keep repeating the same thing. You kind of know that you're doing it, but you're not aware that you're doing it. So it's kind of, for many people, a feeling like they make progress and then it's kind of slips out of their hands and then the progress stops. So that's how many people kind of feel it. Some people just feel stuck. They get going again and then they feel stuck again. So for many, it's a feeling rather than something that they think, if that makes sense. How I would describe it in words with self-sabotage is there is a part of you that wants to sabotage your goals. And that may be, and I've noticed, and I've been doing sabotage coaching, like I said, for over 15 years. In every human being, I think there is an inner saboteur. And that inner saboteur either sabotages somebody's relationships, so their ability to receive intimate love and give intimate love, or it's with their body shape. So it could be their body confidence or their ability to increase weight or decrease weight in the body. Or it could be financially, their ability to hold on to money, respect money, receive money, or gain money. They kind of like just get money and it slips out of their fingers. So whoever I work with, it's normally relationships, it's career and finance, worth, or like body shape and confidence.
So just to kind of summarize what you've just said, so correct me if I'm wrong, but basically sabotage or self-sabotage is when someone wants a particular goal, but for whatever reason, they put obstacles in their own way that stops them from achieving that goal.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because there's a part of them that doesn't want what the goal represents. So what I mean by that, like people used to come to me back in the day and I'd be like, hi, I'm a trainer. What do you want? I want to be slim. And I'd be like, cool, well, let's give you a workout. And no wonder it didn't, you know, they didn't get the result or their outcome. And then it was like, okay, so what would being slim mean to you? What would that represent? And then they would go, oh, that would mean I'd have confidence, Eileen. Cool. Does all of you want confidence? And then they'd kind of go, oh no, if part of me is confident, what would other people think? How do I fit into my family if I'm healthy, slim, confident, sexy, rich? So often with the saboteur, there's that inner conflict. That's why it feels like a push and pull feeling. And that's what I was doing in my personal romantic life. I wanted a man, I'd get one, and then I'd push away the love. And then when they took the love away from me, I would run after it. And when they'd turn around and give it to me, I'd push it away. And the people I was attracting were mirroring that as well. So many of us struggle to receive, to truly receive love. Many of us struggle to truly receive money without it being conditional. Many of us struggle to receive compliments. You know, you're beautiful. You're so skilled at what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are beautiful, Leigh.
Thank you.
So skilled at what you do. You know, there's a part of us that kind of struggle to totally receive that. So the saboteur kind of goes, don't worry. This is the thing what most people get about sabotage. They often see self-sabotage as a bad thing. For me, that is incorrect. The inner saboteur, for me, is an indicator to show you that you're out of balance. There's something that an internal part of you needs. And until you find a way to give that internal part of you what that part needs, then sabotage repeats. So can I give you a little example of that? So without me knowing,
absolutely,
I used to, you know, go out with guys, and without me knowing this consciously, there was a part of me that wanted men or needed men to validate me. So I needed men to go, Eileen, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're fantastic. And a part of me was like, does that mean that I'm enough? Does that mean that I'm enough? When they'd say it. And the guy would say it for a while, especially at the beginning of a relationship. There's a lot of seduction, there's a lot of infatuation and lust. So I would get it at the beginning of the relationship. And then when they'd stop affirming me and validating me, an inner part of me will feel not enough. Then she would sabotage as a way to protect me. So then guess what I do? I find the next man, repeat the same behaviour, find the next man. By the way, I sound like I've had thousands of men. I'm talking about 10 behaviours here. And then I started to notice this can't be about men, because in the end I was like, oh, all men are knobs. That is not true. That is not true. And then I went, I've got to change something in me. And that's when what the little girl in me needed, she needed to be validated and affirmed by me. So then if men give me it or don't give me it, I feel enough. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's coming from within rather than from the outside.
Yeah, and if you look at most people in a society, we are highly addicted. I don't really like the word addicted, attached to, I'll do that diet. That will make me slim. This is my business. I'll do that marketing program. That plan will make me grow my business. I will do that money-making scheme. That money-making scheme will give me safety and security. Unfortunately, it can for a little while, but when that stops, then we go back to fear and shame. So we have to deal with what's internally going on. And that's the challenge. Most people, and I've done it, we go from one program to the next program to the next program looking for the thing, when really you've got to help the inner saboteur. What does that part of you need? And then what is magic, the inner saboteur, we've got to teach the inner saboteur to work with us. And that's when I kind of say this sentence, to teach that part of our brain to be our friend. Because sabotage is a protection mechanism. If you stay weighty, you don't have to receive a compliment. If you stay poor or lacking money, then you don't have to deal with judgments from other people, if that makes sense. If you sabotage yourself with love, then you can't get hurt. So it's kind of like a form of protection, but it's a pain in the ass because it's painful.
And I would guess, tell me if I'm wrong, that, you know, most of these aspects of us that cause us to sabotage almost always come from something in our childhood.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been my experience. And it's normally, it doesn't have to be like a deep trauma. It doesn't have to be, you know, sometimes out there it's like you've got to look at your trauma, look at your wounds, go deep. Sometimes it doesn't have to be like that. It could just be a belief or an experience the brain has had. And from that, it just keeps repeating it, if that makes sense.
So just to kind of paraphrase something that kind of stood out when you were speaking is that when someone sabotages themselves, at maybe a subconscious level, it's a way of protecting themselves from getting hurt.
Yes.
Thank you for watching the Radical Health Rebel YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to share with your friends and family, or share via your social media. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to receive notifications of new video clips from the podcast. And if you want to watch the full podcast episode, completely ad-free, plus premium content, and join the Radical Health Rebel Patreon community, head over to the Radical Health Rebel Patreon channel at www.patreon.com/Radical Health Rebel. Thanks again for watching.